I get big 4x8 sheets of 1/4 inch Luan, and I cut it into basically small, medium, large pieces. And I take gesso and just put a good heavy coat of gesso on it to seal everything up. And then I'll let those dry overnight, let it cure. And I'll start on that gessoed panel my gestural lay-in. I'll just real loose paint, let it drip. This is one of the most fun parts of creating these, because I can just be completely loose and let paint fly, which I just love that. I love troweling paint on with different tools. Probably use the brush maybe least sometimes out of all the tools, you know, palette knives and even my hands. I love working my hands. And once I get the perspective, I start to layer it using a heat gun to dry layers. I want to start to build textures. Once the perspective is laid in nicely, I'll take the jigsaw and literally cut the entire shape out. The next step is to mount them. So I have adhesives, clamps, and I mount them to a 2-inch foam board and let those set overnight. All the edges are, I want that goop just squeezing out the side, so I know it's perfectly mounted for life. Then the next day I come in, I have a mask that I get out, and I head outside, and I'm like the surfboard shaper, which I love surfing. I used to love watching guys shape surfboards in shops and everything, and that's what I feel like. So I'm taking that foam and I'm shaping those edges back 30 degrees or so, just so it's a nice sharp angle. So later when they sit on the wall, you can't see that boxy edge. You have to literally go around the piece and look at it to see that edge. And this also gives it a great cast shadow on the wall to help with this dimensional feel that these things have. So once they're all shaped, I have a material that's kind of like a plaster, but it was engineered specifically for foam, and it just becomes like a hard, almost like a concrete plaster finish on it. And that's got to all be done one perfect one-time shot. And you have a little work time, but if you were interrupted and that dried, you're in trouble. So it's all going to be right to the edges. It's sandable, but it is hard stuff. And excuse me, right before that, I actually measure out and weigh these pieces out so I can put hangers, wire hangers, inserted into the foam before I put the foam coat on. So they hang perfectly on one hook or in a wire system. And then overnight, drying again. The next day, the final finish is on the back is beeswax. And I just love the feeling of wax, especially when you polish it to that nice luster. I love working with a heat gun to let it just ooze and drip all over the back and off the sides. And then I clean up that beeswax with razor knives and then set it one more time with the heat gun, polish it. And then I can finally look on the wall hanging this almost finished piece, and that's where I'll take my last shot at the painting, and I will render out all the edges, the form of whatever I'm working on, shells, boats, shacks, all these objects. Then seal it, and it's all done with acrylic paint, and sign it, and they are ready to go.